Welcome back to game number 2, boys and girls. This is the Acer Team Story Cup. Best of 9 between these two teams, but a best of 1 between these two players. Although he's currently up 1 for his team at the moment, spawning in the lower right corner of the map from Acer Esports. Team Acer, ladies and gentlemen, the red Zerg player Bly.
In the upper left as the blue Terran, it is Axiom's Heart.
So I was asking about the Protoss earlier because I know that Ryung's TVZ is really not too bad. I know that Heart's TVZ isn't too shabby either. But I think the weakness of Axiom has been trying to deal with Protoss in the past. And it's got to be a bit of a relief coming up against Acer, knowing that you're not going to actually have to worry about that in the slightest.
That's such a good point. We all know Ryung is little.
Well, Ryung's had struggled in the past, but Heart's TVP is actually pretty badass, if we're going to be honest. I don't know if it's like as good as Jokshi's per se, but it is not too shabby.
I was actually going to say that Ryung's been vocal about some things.
Yeah, no, I was trying to change the subject real quick. Poor Ryung's done had the best of luck with Protoss.
Ryung is so funny when he's vocal.
Well, actually, just side note, did you hear about Crank's vocal thing about Starbo?
No. Wait.
Really unhappy with Hydralisks.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I was like, who did he face? Alright, Zerg players, Hydralisk, yeah.
But anyways, as far as Heart goes, guys, we've had him on in the past for show matches. We've had him on for the odd tournament or two here and there, but it's always been TVZ for him, and it's kind of been like inconsistent. Like he's not just winning everything TVZ nonstop, but I would say versus Bly, he's got a pretty realistic chance. Now, it's worth noting, too, guys, on top of all of this, because Bly is from Europe and Heart is playing from Korea, they've come together on the North American server. And if we're going to be honest, nobody loves playing off of their home server. There's always going to be a little bit of delay. We've had people like Daishy and stuff argue about what's worse in the past, but the reality is it doesn't really matter what's worse, because both players are going to be suffering from a slight delay, regardless of how you look at it.
Well, unfortunately for Hart, and he hasn't discovered this yet, it is going to be cross positions on Frost, which is just pretty good Zerg map. Pretty much. It's going to be so difficult to actually trek across the middle. You know, it's a long trek. They have the Zelnagas every single time. It's just pretty good. You know, as opposed to if you got in cross horizontal, then you'd be feeling a lot different about the map.
It's funny too. We talk about like a lot about how the maps evolve, how the players change, etc. as StarCraft 2 goes on, but this is the one map where I don't know if it's ever going to change the whole like the horizontal spawn stigma versus Terran when you're a Zerg player. I mean, you can change your playstylings all you want. Players don't even take that base up here anymore, but still, I don't think anyone likes those spawn locations as a Zerg.
No, they're pretty happy when they get this cross positions, horizontal, whatever. Well, Hart's gonna discover it very, very soon. The Lings are already out and searching. I mean, he knows where his opponent is. The Overlords have already seen it, but I suppose...
I just Hart he have to go for 2 Reapers and not 3. I just want to throw that out there because it seems to have been a very big trend lately.
I guess it's not worth it on such a big map. Like, that already takes 10 seconds away from a potential clock if they're going for gas, which Bly isn't, but he hasn't discovered that yet. And Bly did send all 4 of those Lings across the map. I thought maybe 2 were to like try and catch a Reaper off guard, but nah, all 4 going over there.
Hart can't quite. He just barely can't confirm gases. Bly actually faked the gas here at the natural. Make it look like he had a little more than he did, but now double gases in the main instead.
I also waited the appropriate amount of time for the second Reaper to have already left.
Oh yeah, with the sneaky Lings.
Yeah, it's not even left. It's actually just chilling out on top of the ramp where the supply depot would be.
where the wall off never seems to be anymore.
Yeah, right? Like, it used to be only like the 14cc, you wouldn't see the second supply depot, but now people are getting a little more greedy and they're putting the command center like before the second supply depot and whatnot.
I feel like if you showed a Terran player the way openings could go now to a Terran player from even a year ago, so still Heart of the Swarm, or even 2 years ago for Wings of Liberty, they'd call you crazy because walling off was such a big deal versus Zerg once upon a time. You couldn't get away with not doing it.
Well, I feel like a lot of that has to do with like the fact that you have Reapers, you have scouting information, you have that, you know, free Ling kill.
Yeah,
and Lings don't have speed.
Yeah, and you know, you don't need a wall if you've got all the Zerglings at home defending against this sort of little poke coming across the map right now.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, it's still funny just to think back
Whoa.
No, he's faking out
You never
cloak.
see this anymore because cloak costs like so much less.
Yeah, he's faking out the cloak, guys. So for Bly, he's going to scout this, and this looks like it's cloaked banshees behind it, but that's not going to be the case. And while this might not do more than like bait out a spore crawler or two, it's still nice to force those out. He might even cancel the banshee, actually. No? Actually, maybe just the one without cloak.
Yeah, I think you just get the one if you're not going for cloak, but he should. Okay, there it goes. He cancels it. I think I've seen like one game back when someone forgot to cancel a reactor.
It breaks my heart watching the Caduceus upgrade. Because like I played the Heart of the Storm beta. I know what that OP heal was like before they changed it back. And I miss it so badly.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You could survive like a billion colossal shots.
I guess just to fill a bit of the downtime, the Caduceus reactor, for those who don't know, it's an upgrade that gives Medivacs 25 energy to start with, or a bonus 25 energy rather. Really not that big of a deal. But in the beta, it made it so they healed more per second. So you had these units that were quite frankly unkillable while Medivac had energy. There's just no DPS that could take it down. So you'd have like 4 or 5 Marauders randomly in an army that would just never die.
No, he just barely missed it.
Yeah, he knows the creep tumor's there. He's looking for it. There we go, gets on the rocks. That's a cool little trick.
Funny. Yeah. There's no speedlings out right now, so he's able actually to do that like pretty much with no problem. Roaches, however, are on the way, and he's got to prepare for this. I mean, he hasn't seen anything to tell him that it's roaches, believe.
Well, the thing about the roaches, though, there's the Banshee to help try and shelloate them. One Banshee's not the craziest DPS in the world, but it's enough to really, really hurt those roaches as they come across the map. And while Impact does have that bunker up at home, he's also getting his production on the way. So he's kind of in this vulnerable spot right now where, by being aggressive with the Hellions and the Reapers, it's going to keep Bly from just marching across and tearing down that wall. You know, going with 9 roaches, killing SCVs, killing a bunker.
Yeah. And it's quite useful about going for a Banshee opener. Not only do you get some scouting information that you might not get otherwise, because you know you're free to go into the main somewhat. You're not really like safe from all-ins, but you can actually survive all-ins no matter what, because they're not going to have anti-air. So like how much you survive is really the question. But if they see them like roaches frogging across the map, you actually have something better than just Hellions and Reapers.
Well, this is a bit of a nuisance. Hart was opting to go for a fairly quick third in context to win Terrans. Normally it would take that third, but this creep here blocking it, and even though he kills the Overlord, it's going to take quite a bit of time. Oh, Tunneling Claws very much so intentionally, as Burrow starts in tandem with this.
That is interesting. Rarely do you ever see a Terran player who's not going mech, and even a lot of times even when going mech, put down a missile turret.
Yeah, well, it's not about that either. It's more that, like, when you go for these sort of... Okay, so let's say, like, he wants to sneak the roaches across the map. You know, he burrows, he tries to go undetected. When you get on top of tanks, they're slow firing, they friendly fire each other. But if you sort of roach shark attack on top of Marines, you just stim and kill everything. You're not really threatened by roaches in this way.
Depends how many Marines, but yeah. So that was his first glimpse, I believe, of the roaches. He never got to scout off on the Roach Warren, and of course you can't tell what they're researching in those Evo chambers. So he immediately goes on a bunker, because this is an attack that has been very, very common lately. Just like this, what is this, like 15, 20 roaches? Actually 29 roaches to come across the map, but still, just coming at your, you know, your base, and then later on they might transition into Roach Hydra.
So this is, yeah, Roach Hydra is actually becoming a lot more popular lately. But you know what bugs me? Okay, so I think lifted depots should let burrowed roaches move under them. But lowered depots shouldn't let burrowed roaches move under them.
Oh, yeah, because of how... Yeah. I think I've actually heard that before. I think someone tried to come up with like an excuse for it too.
The roaches just they burrow deeper. Is that the logic? They go two levels through the like crust of the planet.
But that doesn't make sense. Then the when it's raised, it doesn't have like an explanation.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the depots. Maybe it's like an elevator hole. So there's a shaft that goes all the way down.
But then that would be there.
Look, I'm not here to fight. I'm not here to argue semantics with you, okay? So I'm here to cast some good StarCraft 2. And that's what we have on our hands here. Job at the bottom doesn't get much done, sadly, as he is driven off by this. The tanks coming out's a little bit interesting. You know, you're going to need tanks versus Hydras or Roaches. Ooh.
Which he's not doing, by the way.
Well, hang on. I actually don't... Can this tank even get out of the base?
No. Hate tanks. I hate tanks.
Oh no, actually he's just intentionally living here. Because I thought like there's gotta be enough room here between the reactors, right? And then go below? I don't
Oh,
know.
it's actually.
I actually don't know if that's close enough or not, because you see fat units get stuck in the dumbest things, but
No, you're right. Yeah, it's totally doable, and it worked out better for him anyways. Oh, he actually saw. I guess he saw the dark spots that you can actually tell.
no, there's a turret.
Oh, and we got in range of the turret. Okay.
But it would be really cool if you could see it, because if you guys look, you can see sort of the pathing that the roach will take when it's burrowed.
You can notice it if you're like, if you know it's there, right? Like if you know they have Roach Burrow, you can be paying attention the same way that you can pay attention to when you know they have Dark Templars. But yeah, just the missile turret did that.
Now, it's important you did bring up, he's actually not going for Roach Hydra. This is something that's usually a little more expected and something that a lot of players have been more commonly doing, but instead we got Banelings, Mutalisks, and Zerglings going to be the case here. And it's not like Heart has made the wrong composition for this. Tanks are just going to be a little less effective. They're really good to have versus Banelings. There's no one who's ever going to argue against that. The problem is, though, it's hard to really find good positioning for them and keep them safe from the Mutalisks. And now they can't get out of the base.
Yeah.
What was
he
that?
just blocked them in.
This is the worst barracks of all time.
It's really
well, these are 5 really important units. You'll notice he didn't go double factories for this, expecting Roach Hydra. So looks like he'll pick them up with the medevacs, but that's only like a temporary solution, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
No.
Oh, I guess if it pops up on the right side, it's fine. Okay.
Okay, so these factories are a little bit useless for the time being, but they will become beneficial later making Thors, which you're always going to want to mix in versus Mutalisks at some point. Not only will they soak up the Baneling hits, but they will do a ton of damage. But I don't know, it's always hard to guard these tanks. What ends up happening more often than not is you get like a good position, the Banelings are too scared to engage, but the Mutalisks just swoop in from behind and you bleed out tanks.
Yeah, it's true. But people have been experimenting more and more with biomech. That's not what Hart is like intending to do. It so happens that he needed tanks if it was Roach Hydra, but it's definitely becoming more and more effective. People are getting a lot better at it.
He's got to spread these Marines, and he does quite nicely. The Banelings connect almost nothing, and the tanks will deal with the Roaches. The Mutalisks get annihilated on top of this, and Hart is looking really good right now. Bly just lost his entire freaking army.
Yeah, that was very, very for Bly. In fact, almost probably game ending. He's getting on top of not the projection per se, but where everything's going to be rallied to.
Oh, these Banelings are, even if they hatch, the tanks are already in range to shell at them. They're going to get popped off so quickly, and the Marines will just retreat behind the tanks. Banelings rolling into full force, but not enough. Only one tank goes down and a couple Marines. GG is called, and Hart will take it back for Axiom, tying up now 1-1. But also, that ends Bly's win streak at 1, which means we'll start a brand new win streak.